And my hope is that because there are some items that you'll need, you don't need them. There are some items that will enhance this practice that you won't have today. So, hoping that you'll go through it and be like, that was awesome. I want to do the whole thing. And you'll repeat it at home, maybe on the winter solstice. That would be the best. But you can also do it beforehand and practice it. I just love this one. So today we'll use our visuals, but it would be nice if you could have a piece of scrap paper or a journal if you happen to have that in your workspace and some sort of a writing utensil. I just don't want you to be frustrated if you didn't think to get that in advance. So you may need it. Otherwise, the tools that I'll be using today that I'll show you are just something that you can visualize. So I'd like to refer to our meditation today as reflections and intentions. And I'll show you why in a minute, but it's also known as a winter solstice meditation. So come on back and join me. I am so happy you're here today. This is a really nice one. And we often don't do seasonal meditations, but the winter solstice brings something very special. If you're not familiar with that term, it's just the first day of winter. It's the longest day of the year, and it's special for people like us who take time to meditate. So let's get comfy. Most importantly, don't worry about what I have around me at all. Just get yourself to a spot where you feel like you can settle in and, move as you need. I don't want you to just plop down and feel like, oh, I have to get still. Find stillness when you're ready. A little moving, a lot of moving maybe. You might like to take a big yawn and stretch out. But the one thing I do want you to pay attention to is maybe having something to write with nearby, because for every meditation, things arise. And in order to be able to drop back into our breath and our theme for the day, it's nice to jot those things down so you can know, I can come back to those later. When you get comfy, let's start to close our eyes if that's available to you. Personally, I don't like to do that either, so it's okay if it's not. I take my eye gaze right down the tip of my nose, and I soften my eyes to little slits so that everything I can see is really fuzzy and out of focus. And that's another nice way to rest. Just block out as much stimulation as possible. Let's take a big, beautiful breath in together. And a big sigh. These feel so good. Let all that out. Try that twice more. 3 is a great mark to start our practice. I like to wiggle a little bit when I do mine, just really get every little bit of sigh out. All righty. If you're feeling overstimulated, palms may be resting down. They can be anywhere. They don't have to be on your sides. If you're feeling like you're sluggish and you need a bit of energy today, palms would be up. You can also cup them. That's so nice to make a little, like one palm in the other, cup facing upwards, anywhere that your shoulders are feeling like they could heavily rest. Soften your jaw, start to relax in here. And our reflection and intention meditation, our winter solstice meditation today, is the time that we take to observe the change in the seasons. So there are very obvious alterations in our landscapes. There are different migration patterns of the birds, disappearances of certain animals altogether. We might be seeing these things and noticing them out our windows or as we're traveling around. We're witnessing the death of autumn or fall and all of its life forms. Why do we want to notice this? I love to notice these different aspects of winter coming, becoming attuned to nature, and notice that it's slowing down. It's turning within for regeneration. We discover how the light changes, how the texture, how the quality of the air feels different. And this is a time for us to reflect upon our personal cycles and ask ourselves, how can we align with these seasonal changes, both inside and outside? Can we become attuned to and embody our connection to the earth? So we're taking the time to honor our lives during these seasonal changes, realizing that every day is a natural cycle, no matter how we might want to fight against it when that darkness comes really early. Instead, can we change our attitude and start to embrace that? Come within, slow down. There are simple ceremonies that you can integrate into your daily schedule to express gratitude and respect for the land where we live, all of the living things, the elements of the earth, air, water, fire, space, and your own life. So I'll leave those either to your imagination or some things you can research on the big wide web of ways that we can really nurture ourselves this time of year. But today I'd like to present a very special ritual or ceremony to share with you. Now, we have our papers and our writing utensils nearby, but other items that you'll need when you repeat this particular ceremony or ritual are a candle and a bowl of water. But we need to make sure that our bowl of water is much bigger than our candle. You'll see why later. And don't worry that you don't have these items today, because you can imagine this candle, the flickering flame, in your visualization. But just for the sake of really showing you how this beautifully works, I am going to use the little candle today. And if you are using it, or when you are using it, you're going to use your eye gaze to really softly focus, again, closing into those little slits on this beautiful flickering flame. Take a big breath in. And for all of us that don't have our candle and our flame, we're envisioning that beautiful dancing, flickering flame. Now this light, this flame, represents the last solar year. It represents all of the people, all of the experiences, everything that has encompassed and filled our life since the last winter solstice. You may right away realize that some parts of our life have grown since last year. Amazingly and miraculously, through all we've been through, things have grown. And some aspects of our lives may have faded away. Now, this particular year during pandemic is going to be much more intense than other winter solstice years. So recognize that emotions may be really strong, more so than ever before, especially if you've ever participated in something like this and you're feeling a lot more emotional about it this year. That is normal. Some aspects of your life may have ended abruptly. Let's take a moment to consider everything that we're grateful for in our lives. All of the things that we would like to continue taking with us and carrying forward. All of the people, all of the animals, anything that you love and things that love you back. Keep envisioning your flame, your flickering, dancing flame, as you possibly feel these things that you love so much that you want to continue carrying with you. And anytime during this meditation, don't wait for me to write. If you feel like you want to write some things down, that would be a good moment right there. If you're like, I really love this certain aspect of myself, or, you know, this plant, I want to make sure I care for it and carry it with me through this year. And with a real gentle awareness, refocusing our mind's eye on our candle flame, consider any of the painful aspects of this past year. It's okay to write these things down. It's okay to speak them aloud and talk about them. It's okay to feel all of the sensations that come along with envisioning and bringing these back up into our consciousness. They may have been losses and very unexpected changes. But from these aspects of our life where we experienced loss, is there anything? Are there any particular moments that you may be able to keep? Take a big breath in. Full, long exhalation. Are there lessons that we learned? Are there any new spaces that were created? New opportunities or possibilities that arose when we let go? Maybe it's just time in our schedule for something that is no longer with us. And with another sense of gentleness, let's also call to mind any areas of your life that are still here, but you are ready to let them go. So you may ask yourself right now, and it's okay if an answer doesn't come. We're not forcing any answers, we're just pondering. Another reason that this is a very powerful meditation or ritual to try a couple of times so that we can really allow ourselves to sit with this. What can I release that no longer serves me? Maybe a great time to jot something down. What can I release that no longer serves me? Big breath in. Sitting with what is, any types of physical sensations or emotions that are coming and going. I ask you now to come into a deep state of willingness. Willingness creates a way. Dynamic willingness. Think about a fluid, moving, ever-changing sense of willingness, seeing, hearing, feeling. Contributions, areas of growth, resources you have, and anything that you're ready to let go of. So we're just looking at the big picture now. Things that have come, things that have gone. See, hear, feel. And this doesn't just have to be feelings that we want to get rid of. Things like anger, jealousy, hurt, or judgment. Could be perhaps things or people that are no longer serving us and no longer belong in our lives. Maybe you feel like they're attached to a big cinder block and they're just dragging you down. That's why we're here to do this in the privacy of our own workspaces and homes. Anything you write here is safe and sacred. Remembering that this flame we're envisioning represents the entirety of our year. So it's all the joys as much as it is all of the sorrows. And although it's time to let go of this last year, or almost, we're practicing a little early, some aspects of our lives will continue to stay steady. And that's okay. That might be something that we're ready to keep. Others will not. Let's allow the last year to stay contained within itself and allow your being to open up to the possibility of change. Remember that dynamic willingness. Take a big breath in. And a full, long breath out. Settle into softness with that exhalation. Now, if you have a candle like me, you're going to literally blow it out. But if you don't, it's okay. In your mind's eye, envision a soft breath, gently blowing your candle out. And then re-blink your eyes closed or into those little slits if they're not already. And allow yourself the moment to really mourn any aspects of your life that you have lost. Continue to cherish the people and experiences that you may be missing. Those are very valid thoughts. And hold them really close to your heart. You may notice things arising, not just from this year. Maybe it's previous years, people, things, emotions. You could even be physically feeling them from way back, even into our childhood. Give yourself space. Allow with loving kindness anything that arises to come and go without any judgment. Please remember that as we spoke about joys and sorrows that our lives are always filled with, remember that without darkness, there is no light. Without grief, there is no love. These are very natural opposite feelings, sensations, and experiences that we all as humans will go through. Let yourself really feel any aspects that have been lost. Maybe it was dreams that you had that were changed due to pandemic, or any loved ones that you may have lost. Let yourself really love them. Feel that love deep in your bones. In your mind's eye, re-envision relighting your candle. And when you practice again, and you have your candle nearby, you'll actually relight your candle. This new flickering flame that we're now focusing all of our intention back on represents light and rebirth. So we're going to think ahead to the next year, or even from this point forward. Don't even wait for the new year, and ask yourself, what do I really want? What can I focus on bringing in to my life? What do you hope for? What do you wish for? And how can you make this happen? Don't wait for me to write. If anything comes up, feel free to jot down anything that you're feeling. There are no limitations on your thoughts right now, so please dream, hope, and wish as big as you possibly can. The bigger, the better. That's why we're here today. And it's okay if you didn't grab a journal or a pen and paper. You can just take a mental snapshot of these things that you're thinking. And when you practice again, just make sure you have it with you so you can really get it written down. Letting all these thoughts, ideas, and emotions come and go. And really experience this part of the winter solstice ritual. Remember to dream as big as you possibly can here. Now, along with specific hopes and wishes you may have, let's write down any intentions that we have in order to make those things a reality. I truly believe that we can manifest things in our life. So we may need to get clear, really be specific, and write down how we could possibly accomplish these things. It's okay to leave it open-ended for now. When you're repeating this meditation, this is such a great time to press pause and really take as long as you need to complete this process. It could be something that you don't finish the ritual and restart the recording until later in the day or later in the week, because you need to take some time to really think this over and ponder as big as you possibly can. Big breath in. And a full releasing out breath. Now, when you feel that you've gotten everything out, if you happen to have your paper with you that you wrote on, literally place it over your heart. And it's okay if you didn't write it down. Use your hands. Place them over your heart as if they're holding all your intentions, your hopes, your dreams, your wishes. Really breathe into this space and either continue looking at or envisioning your flickering flame. Be very proud of yourself for taking the time for this ritual. Sit with, feel, and experience any thoughts and emotions that are running through you. It could be literally running through you like this big, bold sense of excitement for getting something in your mind that you're really hoping to conquer this year. Now, when you're ready, we're going to either mindfully in our visualization, or I'll show you how it actually works. Release all of your goals, your hopes, your dreams, and your intentions out into the universe. So this is a burning ritual. When you do this yourself, remember that you do not have to completely burn your paper. So also you'll notice, if you can see mine, it's a little paper. I wrote small because the bigger, sometimes the scarier it is. So I just like to keep mine kind of small. And you're also welcome to fold it if you use a big sheet of paper. And you can make it small so it's not so scary when we burn it. Any amount of smoke will allow all of your intentions, your dreams, and your thoughts to release. So we want to send these out into the universe. All right, now as we start either visualizing this process or actually doing it in our next practice, the smoke is going to represent all of our wishes, our intentions, our hopes, and our dreams being set free, but sending it out into the universe to make it a reality. And the reason we had our bowl of water is so that we have safety if the flame gets really big. And this is not something you have to do right in this exact moment. You can also save your journal or your paper for as long as it feels really good to you. Now remember that any amount of smoke and ash, we do want to try to let some ash fall into the water. Any amount is good. It doesn't have to be a certain amount. And so if it gets really smoky and you want to put it out, go for it. I'm just always afraid my fire alarm's going to go off. So ideally when I do this, I do it outside so that you don't have to worry about that. And then take a moment to recollect yourself after you've envisioned everything that you've written down floating out into the universe in this smoke. Make a promise to yourself that you will work in this coming year to manifest all of these dreams into a reality. Letting go and letting in. We will be grieving and loving, hoping and wishing. Taking a moment to acknowledge the hard work that we've done in this practice, and it might be another good time to put your hands over your belly or your heart, wherever you tend to really feel things the most. Now, another really special aspect of this practice is the water that we have left over after we've gotten the ash into it. There are a few things that you can choose to do with this that make it really beautiful and meaningful. We would first scoop out the ashes. And the first thing we can do is wash the bowl out, which symbolizes washing away any remaining grief from the year that we've just been through. Now, another option is to give just a little bit of this ash water to a beloved tree or a plant, something that you really hold dear to your heart, that you really hope continues to grow, and you're thinking about feeding it with all of your loving hopes, wishes, desires, and intentions. I really love that one. And lastly, if you like to bathe, to take baths, you can, again, scoop out like the big parts, the big ashes, and then pour this into a little jar that would have a lid that can sit next to your bathtub. And every time you take a bath, it can be, over the course of a year, we put just a little bit of this water in to remind ourselves of those very powerful intentions that we not only felt, but we wrote down and then we released. So even with a mini practice like this, something that we really didn't have an appropriate length of time to dive deeply into, I hope that you can feel how empowering, how joyous it can be to get all of these thoughts and emotions out in a ritual such as this. Let's come back into our breath, breathing in and breathing out. Now, especially after a practice where we've conjured up images and things from the past that may still be very raw and fresh, it can be very big, and we may need a few more open mouth exhalations, not to let them go necessarily, but to create space for them and to feel that we can sit with what has arisen comfortably. As you're breathing here, remain thankful and open, remembering back to all that we were grateful for throughout this past year. Open to allowing coming and going and releasing once we can be really true to ourselves and honest with what we're able and ready to let go of. Let's carry ourselves forward, reveling in the appreciation for your unfolding. This is such big work. So the little snippet that we practiced today together can become much bigger when you have some extra time to dedicate to it. And as we mentioned a couple of times throughout our practice, it's so important to give thanks to yourself. It's like a little reward, a little maybe visualization of a pat on the back, because it's not easy to carve time out for these practices, but it's so essential, especially in the changing seasons when we have a lot more time to come within, literally staying inside and becoming more introspective. I ask that you go forth and multiply the consciousness of the all good that we get from slowing down, taking the time it takes to be still and rest and let our breath catch up with us. The all good, this consciousness is within us. With a simple connection to the breath, and with a much more detailed but beautiful ritual such as we practice today, we can rely on the fact that peace begins with us. Let's take a big, beautiful breath in. When I practice this mantra, I like to turn my palms up and squeeze them into a little fist, like I'm taking this mantra into every single cell of my body. I'm going to squeeze it in and breathe it into all my cells. Peace begins with me. Opening your fingers and letting that mantra float right on out. Outside your four walls, outside your town, all the way to the furthest four corners of this world. And when you're done, please repeat this ritual, this meditation for winter solstice. It's in your chat where you can find our YouTube page, and by the end of today, I'll have it uploaded. I would love for you to let me know how you made out with this, releasing and intention setting, hopefully clearing and making space for all the new and good that is to come your way. My light is so grateful for your sharing the practice and your beautiful light. Namaste, my friends.